of rape or medical necessity.
Yeah.
All right. I'm in favor of saving a woman's life. If she feels that she needs to terminate and her doctor says it's dangerous for her to have the pregnancy, she can't carry it to term. Yes, you terminate that pregnancy, because if the mom dies, the baby's not going to live anyway. You know, so that's a whole different discussion.
Yeah, can I speak now? You've been speaking for a while.
Alrighty.
Yeah, everything that you just said was either a straw man of my position or just fucking gross and wrong. Like, the first thing that you said was, well, in history, this guy raped a bunch of women and none of them got abortions. So maybe this tells us that it's wrong when you're raped as a woman and you do get an abortion. Okay. Well, all throughout history, a lot of guys raped a bunch of children and married them, and those kids never tried to divorce them. Oh, so then maybe it's wrong if a child were to attempt to escape child marriage with a rapist adult. I don't think that appealing to history, or at least what you think you know about history, will ever justify what you think is right or wrong. Now, the second thing, one moment, the second thing that I'll say here is then you went on to appeal to people that you know. And you said, well, these people that you know were raped or impregnated, kept the pregnancy, and then you know the product of that rape today. And you said, Dean, are you telling me that they shouldn't be here today because they're really happy to live? You know, if I chose to donate one of my organs to somebody that needs it to live, that person would then go on to live a very happy, very flourished life. Maybe after I gave them one of my organs to save their life, they got a wife, they had kids, they started working as a pastor at a local church, and they saved a bunch of lives by donating money to, build a food bank for the homeless and needy. And they'd reflect on the last 10 years of their life since I donated them a kidney, and they'd say, thank you for donating me that kidney. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have my family, I wouldn't have my job, and I wouldn't be fulfilled in helping the needy and the poor. Does this mean that I would have been doing something bad if I never chose to donate them that kidney in the first place? Yes or no?
No, you wouldn't have done something bad.
Even though they went on to live a super happy life and were so grateful that I chose to donate them the kidney.
Right.
My point. So when you point towards children, that grew up and they were produced by rape, and you say, well, look at them, they're happy that they deserve to die. I'm saying that their mother should have had a choice to terminate their life when they were a fetus, the same way I should have a choice to not donate you my kidney today. And then the last thing that you said that I have to respond to is that, well, I think that people really devalue human life. We don't acknowledge it as human life. That is a straw man of my argument. When I say that rape victims should be able to access abortion, it is no more or less than the very simple fact that they do not have an obligation to keep that fetus alive. They do not have an obligation to provide their bodily resources to that fetus to keep it alive.
So they do have a right to kill it.
I want you to tell me the difference between these two scenarios. Do you know who Max Irby is?
Do I know who is?
Max Irby.
Don't think I've ever heard of him.
He's a 14-year-old that needs a stem cell transplant, and he needs it badly. But a stem cell type is very rare. His dad set up a fundraiser where they're collecting DNA samples from random people to try to find him a match for a donation. They've collected 40 million DNA samples. They've not found a single match. Meaning that if there's a match for Max Irby alive to save his life, there's probably only one. Here's the hypothetical. The government finds out that you are the only match for Max Irby's stem cell type, and they kidnap you in the middle of the night, and you wake up connected to Max Irby by this IV cord that is slowly and gradually giving him some of your stem cells. And if you stay connected to him for 9 months against your will, he will come out of the other end of that process very alive and very happy that he is alive. The question is, in this hypothetical, would you be doing anything wrong if you were to protest your own kidnapping, stand up, disconnect that IV cord from Max, causing him to die, and going back to your day-to-day life? Yes or no, would you be doing anything wrong?
Well, I'd like to wonder if, would I need to be kidnapped? Why wouldn't I have at least been given a choice? See,
For the same
now,
reason that rape victims were
here's
given a
the thing.
choice.
If
Because
the
the
government-
analogy and comparison is to rape
Well,
victims.
I'm making
I
the
want
analogy.
you to directly answer my question.
I
If you
am.
were kidnapped, if you were connected to Max Irby, they tell you that for 9 months you have to stay connected or he's going to die, and you protest that kidnapping. You say, you can't tell me what to do. I stand up, disconnect that cord from myself. It kills Max Irby, and I leave that room. Did I do anything wrong? My
yeah.
intuitions tell me that I didn't.
Well, no, I see. If it's already too late, if I'm hooked up to the machine and I have to help him, and that would help him stay alive, I'm not
Well,
the
it's not-
type of person. Even if I were kidnapped and I was already in process, I probably wouldn't stop the process.
Well,
I
the
may not
question
like
is-
it. I may not enjoy the way
The
it
question
came
is-
about.
Should you
But
be
I wouldn't
legally
have done it.
required to stay? Or do you think that you should maintain the legal right to leave?
Well, let's put it this way: how would I not? How would I be able to leave if I were kidnapped and held against my will? I'd be strapped to a table. There's no way I could stand up, protest.
Oh no. When you wake up, you're just sitting in a chair and you already have the IV cord connected to you. You could disconnect that IV cord and leave, but it just kills Max. Should you maintain the legal right to leave?
So you're telling me they're going to go through the trouble of kidnapping me and hooking me up to the illegal procedure, but then they won't
Yep.
restrain me so that I could just disconnect it and walk away?
Yep. Do you think that you should maintain the legal right to disconnect and walk away?
Makes sense to me, kiddo.
Do you
But,
think that you
yeah,
should
no,
maintain the legal right to get up and walk away?
I would have the legal right to get up and walk away, but
Do you
would I
think that you
morally
should?
do it? No.
Do you think that you should have the legal right to walk away? That you should have that legal right, even if you wouldn't personally do it?
I had the legal right not to be abducted in the begin with.
Okay, the same
So
way
it
legal
could've been taken
women
against
have the
their
legal
will.
right not to be raped to begin with. So
Right,
so
but you
in this
already have the
hypothetical,
legal right not to be
you
raped.
should have the legal right to disconnect from Max and walk away,
what we
right?
do and the way we respond when these
Could you just answer the question? Should you maintain the legal right to disconnect from Max and walk away, even if it kills Max?
Maintain the legal right to disconnect and walk
But I'm not
away.
asking you if you do maintain the right. I'm asking if you should maintain the right.
It's apples and oranges. It doesn't make sense. If I'm telling you that we do maintain it, then I obviously should.
Oh, okay, perfect. Oh, as long as you think that we should maintain the
Because I
legal
am
right. Now,
maintaining.
okay. Now here's the final
But-
argument. There's no difference between that and a rape victim accessing abortion. In the same way that in the analogy, you were hypothetically kidnapped and connected to Max Irby against his will, rape victims are
Max was
raped
already
and then
born.
connected to the fetus against their will. In the same
Max
way
was
that you
already
have to
raped.
stay connected to Max against your will to save his life, rape victims have to, quote unquote, stay connected to the fetus grin in their uterus to save the life of the fetus. In the same way that you technically
difference-
have the ability to disconnect from Max and leave that room even if he dies,
difference that
rape
you're
victims
really
have the ability
missing-
to disconnect from the fetus that kills the fetus by taking the abortion pill. In the same way that
Well,
you
I'll tell
think
you what,
that
if
they
the mother
should
can just
maintain
pull
that
a little
legal right to
tube and
disconnect from Max even if it kills Max,
You
do you in the
cannot
real
just
world
disconnect
think that
from a fetus.
rape victims should maintain the legal right to quote unquote disconnect from the fetus and walk away even if it kills the fetus? Yes or no?
No. You
What's
can't
the
just-
difference?
You can't just disconnect a tube from a fetus. Max is a living, breathing individual who's already had a life.
That's basically what it
right?
does with the abortion
fetus
bill.
is in the very beginning stages of its life.
Okay, so
It
if Max
has
was
no
a newborn.
choice to be there.
Okay,
That
Max didn't have a choice to be there
Max-
either. The government kidnapped him too.
Wow, this government's doing an awful lot. But my point I'm trying
The
to
point
make
is
you
what's the difference between these two scenarios? Because you said that you can't
The
just quote unquote
difference
disconnect from a
is
fetus.
that-
That's what the abortion pill does. It stops the supply of progesterone through. No, listen to me, old man. It stops the supply of progesterone through the umbilical cord to the fetus, then causing the fetus to die from starvation because it lacks the resources that it needs to stay alive.
Right.
So, what is the relevant difference
So
between
how
the
is
rape
that not
victim?
murder? If I stop
For the same
you from
reason-
having the resources to stay alive, are you not just getting murdered?
For the same reason
tell
you
me,
said that
how-
you should.
how does the murder
I will
of an
happily
innocent
explain this
baby-
to you.
how
It's
does the
not murder for the
hang on.
same reason why it's not murder to disconnect from Max Irby in the hypothetical, and for the same reason why you think if you were put into that position in the first place, you should be able to stand up and walk away, killing Max Irby. It's the same thing. You said, "Oh, how is it
wouldn't
not
get
murder
walk
to
away.
deny the fetus the things it needs to live? Oh, how is it not murder to deny Max the things that Max needs to live? Because you think that you should maintain the legal right to stand up and walk away.
Because Max
What's the
developed
difference?
A problem after he was born. He has a medical condition, right? If Max was a live, healthy human being, he would never need those stem cells. If I was a live, healthy being who needed a kidney to live and you only had it, right? If I never developed that problem, this would never be an issue. However,
A, the first point that I'll make here is this is completely irrelevant. And B, we could account for this by just saying, what if Max was born with this stem cell problem?
Maybe he was. I don't know. But here's my point.
If he was born with a stem cell problem, do you still think that you should maintain the legal right to stand up and walk away?
Was he?
I'm saying if he was.
I didn't even know about Max until you told me.
I'm saying if he was born with a stem cell problem, do you think that you should be able to walk up, stand up and walk away?
Let me ask you this. Yeah, I know. You don't like it when I change the point of view. I've answered the question already. I told you I don't think you should walk. I wouldn't walk away, but yes, I believe you have the right to walk away from something you're being forced to do.
So this is like saying that if you were raped and impregnated, you personally want to get an abortion, but you do think that rape victims should maintain the legal right to get an abortion.
I'm saying that I'm willing to have the conversation where rape is involved, but there should be a limit.
So you do think that rape victims should maintain the legal right to access abortion, right?
I'm willing to take. I don't want to see any child aborted. Any viable living.
I just want a yes or no. Should they maintain the legal right to access abortion the same way in the hypothetical you should maintain the legal right to disconnect from Max Irby?
You know what? I'm not certain. I don't believe that the murder of an innocent child in a mother's womb can ever negate the rape, which is
in the hypothetical. Are you murdering Max Irby by disconnecting to him?
I don't know Max Irby. I'm not talking about a man who needs
in the hypothetical, are you murdering Max Irby by disconnecting to him? Just answer the question. In the hypothetical, are you murdering Max Irby by disconnecting from him?
If I were illegally connected to him and I had the right to leave, but if I were informed that by my doing so it would end his life, I would not do it.
That's not what I asked you. If you did do it, would it be murder?
I could personally to save his life.
The question is, if you did do it, would it be murder?
You know what? I would feel like I murdered him.
Okay, I didn't ask you if you feel like you murdered him. I asked you if you did do it, would it actually be murder?
I don't know. I would be at that point. I would be the cause of his death, wouldn't I?
Okay, so check this out. How do you not know if it's murder when it's Max Irby, even though you are denying Max Irby the things he needs to stay alive, causing his death? But you do know when it's a fetus because you're denying the fetus the things that he needs to sustain its life.
I think I would be murdering him. And
so you think that murder should be legal? Because you said that you should legally be able to do that.
I should legally be able. I should legally
so
never.
You think that murder should be legal
to begin with? I should.
The same way legally women should never be raped in the first place to begin with. But that's not the question.
So
now
why
is it?
Why don't you work on never having another woman ever raped again? That's
how about we do both at the same time?
I would love that no woman ever was.
So just to clarify, because in the hypothetical, you think it'd be murder if you disconnected from Max Irby, and you think you should be legally able to disconnect from Max Irby. You think sometimes murder should be legal?
No.
And it's either true that you don't think it's murder to disconnect from Max, or it's true that you should not be able to maintain the legal right to disconnect from Max. Which one is it?
I would feel like I would be murdering him at that point, because if I were to disconnect, even if I were hooked up to Max illegally. Oh my God, I know.
You're just not answering the question. The question is, because you said that it would be murder to disconnect from Max Irby, and then you said murder should always be illegal.
You're trying to pin me down
Does this mean that you think it should be illegal and you should not maintain the legal right to disconnect from Max Irby?
I told you I feel like I would be killing him, which would be murder if I were to.
Sorry, man, you're just not answering the questions. When you tell me that you support Trump as it relates to abortion, like I just don't think that like we could have that conversation about abortion because you just are refusing to answer the questions. It's like fucking ridiculous. I wish that people could be smarter. I genuinely wish that you could be smart enough to engage in an intellectual conversation about your beliefs so they could possibly change.
Well, first of all,
ultimately, when you tell me that you support Trump because he's pro-life, are you saying that you ultimately just think that Donald Trump is going to save as much innocent human life as possible?
Answer one question for me here.
Yeah.
Is the murder of an innocent baby in its mother's womb in any way help to right the wrong of a woman who was raped?
I reject the pre-assumption that abortion is murder.
I know, and I reject the pre-assumption that I would be murdering Max Zuby by disconnecting or even maintaining the right to disconnect.
Perfect. So would it be murder by disconnecting from Max, but it is murder by disconnecting from the fetus? Well, why? What's the difference?
The fetus has no say. It never had a life. It's the beginning.
Max didn't have a say either.
Max has a life. Max has lived a life. How old is Max?
Let's assume that he's a newborn.
Well, why are we assuming?
Because it seems like you're telling me that the age of the fetus matters when I'd say otherwise.
Why do throughout the human race reproduces?
Yeah, dude, just not smart enough. I'll let you make one last point on this, and I have a question for you. It's still about abortion, but I'm just like, I'm going to get us out of the weeds because this is insufferable.
All right, I know, I'm trying to frustrate you.
So ultimately, the reason why you support Trump in consideration of the fact that he's pro-life is because you think he's going to save the most innocent human life possible, right?
I support Trump for many more reasons other than...
But as it relates to the reason about him being pro-life, you are saying that you support him on the issue of being pro-life because he's saving the most innocent human life possible, correct?
He is attempting to. He's the most pro-life president we've had in decades.
Yeah, so hypothetically, if Kamala Harris would have saved more innocent human life than... Hypothetically, if Kamala Harris would have saved more innocent human life than Trump, would you argue in retrospect that you should have voted for her?
If what would?
If Kamala Harris would have saved dramatically more innocent human life than Trump.
I'm not trying to piss you off. I'm not easy to hear. I have trouble hearing.
Good.
If what?
If it was true that Harris would have saved more innocent human life than Trump, like dramatically more innocent human life than Trump, would you say that you should have voted for her?
Well, what pro-life policies did Kamala Harris profess?
Well, I'm just saying hypothetically. If she would have saved more innocent human life, even in consideration of fetuses. Just please answer the question, dude. Please answer the question, man. If hypothetically,
no,
she would have...
Then the answer is no. I would not have voted for her simply not just... I'm not a one-issue person.
Okay.
The mere fact that she would have saved more women from having abortions for babies that manner, just even if it was significantly more than Trump, that would not have been enough for me to vote for Kamala Harris.
Why?
Why? Because I don't... Well, first of all, she didn't really put forth any kind of a political plan. I mean,
that's not true. She had healthcare policy. Trump didn't. She had economic policy. Trump's economic policy was up in the air. Not to mention that Trump is a pretty bad guy. Sexual predators probably shouldn't be president, right, friend?
Well, I would say maybe not. But what about Bill Clinton? If he ever...
Fucking no scope. 360 no scope. Got to make it easy. Because I don't think that they could keep up on the more complicated subjects. You just said that sexual predators shouldn't be president. Do you accept that if Donald Trump was a sexual predator, that you would not support him as president?
Trump?
What's that?
Well, if I find out that he actually did some of the things he was accused of, yeah, probably. I've heard some bad things about him.
To do that.
Yeah.
So you have done that. Now, I'll tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before a show.
Yes.
And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And, no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I'm inspecting. I want to make sure that
like
everything is good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? They're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible-looking women. And so I sort of get away with things like that.
So you just said if you found out that Donald Trump actually did some of the things that he's been accused of, aka if Trump was a sexual predator, you would not support him as president. So I just played you an audio clip of Trump admitting to being a sexual predator because he admitted to barging into the dressing rooms of naked beauty pageant contestants, while on screen I'm showing you the jury verdict form from Unanimous Jury of 9 that proved Donald Trump had raped a woman. And you asked me where he admitted to that. He admitted to that on the Howard Stern show.
Why did George Stephanopoulos end up getting sued for accusing him of rape?
George Stephanopoulos was not found guilty of defamation. In fact, George Stephanopoulos settled outside of court because George Stephanopoulos is a spineless, cowardice clown that didn't want to go to discovery. Other courts have upheld that Donald Trump cannot sue people for calling him a rapist, like the countersuit against E. Jean Carroll after E. Jean Carroll called him a rapist on live TV.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, the audio clip you played was from the Howard Stern show. A shock jock who gets people to say outrageous things.
Yeah, just like Chris Hansen, right? Chris Hansen also gets people to say outrageous things. He gets them to admit to being pedophiles. But when somebody does admit to being a pedophile to Chris Hansen, I believe him.
Okay. Yeah.
So why should we not believe Trump, especially considering the fact that we've had multiple victims corroborate what he said?
Back then, and he did shit. Everybody does. Is he the same person today he was back then?
Wait, everybody sexually exploits naked little girls?
No, I didn't say that.
Well, you just said, he did shit that everyone does. Well, he was sexually exploiting naked little girls.
Many people have had beauty pageants, and he should. I don't think. Oh, and you're not the first person to bring this up to me. And I said it to my friends who have mentioned it, and you. I don't think he should have been going back into the beauty pageant where the women or girls were changing. If he had to go back there, he should have sent a woman back there to make sure everybody was decent. I wasn't there. I don't know what he did. I didn't see it.
But Trump was there. Trump knows what he did, and Trump told us what he would do. He said he'd abuse the fact that he was the owner of the pageant, and he'd get away with barging into the dressing rooms to look at all of the people in those dressing rooms that had no clothes on.
Yeah, he went in there and he's seen people who were naked. Yes.
Can we agree that that is sexual violence?
No, he didn't touch them.
You don't think that you need to touch somebody to engage in sexual violence, because the definition of sexual violence is any sexual action that is unconsensual. Sexual actions can include touch. Sexual actions can exclude touch. What makes something violent is the fact that it's...
So then when you go to a doctor and a doctor sees you naked, he is sexually violating you.
No, because I consent to that.
Okay, but the point is you can see naked people and not get sexually aroused by it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're in a locker room and you're getting changed and you see naked people, are you sexually violating people? Did you consent
because everybody inside of that locker room is implicitly consenting to being viewed naked by the other people who are supposed to be in that locker room.
Going in the locker room. You have transgender women.
This is where we bring up trans people to avoid the argument.
I have 2 trans kids. My kid just shouted at me. No, believe me, I understand about trans.
You have trans kids?
Yes, 2 of them. Believe it or not. Holy crap. Why is this hard to believe?
So we're having a conversation about how Donald Trump is a sexual predator, and then you attempt to pivot away from that conversation by demonizing trans people. Meanwhile, you're the father of 2 trans kids.
Whoa. When did I demonize a trans person?
By randomly mentioning trans people sexually exploiting others per your perspective, when we're supposed to be in the middle of a conversation about how Donald Trump engaged in sexual violence when he barged into the women's dressing room,
you were trying to tell me that everybody in a locker room kind of consents to being able to see each other naked, and it's not
you asked me a general question about people in a locker room, which would pre-assume that the people in there okay.
When you have a transgender woman,
exactly, you're trying to deflect at trans people. I'll happily have a conversation. Listen, I will happily have a conversation with you about trans people in locker rooms and dressing rooms and bathrooms as soon as we can finish the conversation about Trump. These 2 things are different subjects. The claim that trans people are sexually exploiting others while walking into locker rooms or bathrooms is separate from the claim, is Donald Trump a sexual predator for barging into the woman's dressing room?
Women in there do not necessarily want biological men.
I will have a debate with you about that as soon as we're done talking about Trump. How hard is it for your pea brain to understand that these are 2 different topics that you're attempting to weave together to deflect away from the original claim that Donald Trump is a sexual predator? Let me repeat this one last time. I would love to have a conversation with you about trans women in the women's in the women's bathroom as soon as we're done having the conversation. Is Donald Trump a violent sexual predator for barging into a woman's dressing room?
Violent predator? No.
The reason why it's violent is because it was an unconsensual sexual action, and all unconsensual sexual actions are violent.
How do you agree it was a sexual action? What proof is there that it was a sexual action?
Yeah, A, the fact that it's a man who's lauding out the naked bodies of women and girls to say they look great, and B, the fact that the reason Donald Trump shared this story was in response to Howard Stern asking him about the sexual things he'd do with the beauty pageant contestants. That's a pretty compelling case, can't you agree?
Yes, it's definitely not a good look. I've said that many times. I wish he would have never done it.
So perfect. Do you agree that all unconsensual sexual actions are violent?
I think violence is violence when you put hands on people. I mean, there's different
response to the question. Can I get a response to the question, please? Are all unconsensual sexual actions violent?
Is a peeping Tom looking through a window at a woman getting changed, is that violence against the woman?
Yes.
It'd be unconsensual.
Yes.
How did he hurt her? Especially if she never knew he did it.
Because he engaged in unconsensual sexual actions directed towards her. Listen,
she was even unaware.
Yeah, you're saying that because she was unaware, it didn't hurt her. So if a woman drinks, passes out, and then is raped by a man with a small penis, so she doesn't feel it or know anything about it in the morning when she wakes up, would you argue that that wasn't sexually violent because she didn't know?
You're having a pea brain and deflecting, and I asked about a man looking through a window who never touches or is physically even in the same space as the woman, and then leaves without the woman even knowing, and right away we're drugging women and having sex with them after they pass out.
Because that's an example of sexual violence occurring without the woman knowing. The woman doesn't need to know in order for an action to be violent.
She didn't need to know, but he physically touched her, so that's disingenuous. It's different than what I said.
What makes it violent? What makes it violent is that woman having her rights abridged. Okay.
No, the point I'm saying is the peeping Tom never touched the woman. All he did was look from outside the house. That's a far different cry from drugging and having sex with a woman. Those are not.
But the one commonality that I pointed out was in both scenarios, the victim doesn't quote unquote know.
Wait.
The reason why I made the comparison was because in both scenarios the victim didn't quote unquote know, and because the victim didn't quote unquote know, that therefore it was permissible.
But it's not really a fair comparison, is it? Because in one circumstance, the woman was never touched, and the person was not even close to her.
Let's test that to see if touch is relevant. Okay. Could I ask you a question to see if physical touch is relevant towards determining what is and what is not sexual violence, please? Could I ask you a question?
How do you violently sexually assault somebody without touching them?
That's not sexual assault.
The word violence.
It's sexual violence. Sexual assault implies physical touch. It's sexual exploitation, sexual violence, voyeurism.
Violence also implies touch.
Okay, could I test that by asking you a question?
Not touch somebody.
Can I test that claim by asking you a question, please?
Sure.
Okay, first, just an explanation. The reason why something can be violent without touch is because violence is just harm, and you could harm somebody without touching them. Now, here's the question for you. If there is a 4th grade teacher of an all-girls elementary school, and this 4th grade teacher is a man, and he's also a pedophile, he has one of the 4th grade girls stay after class, and he tells this 4th grade girl that he's going to fail her, and she's never going to go to high school or college unless she takes her clothes off right now and lets him look at her, but he never touches her. Can we agree that this action was sexually violent even though he never touched her?
He didn't touch her, but he did coerce her. He was physically in the room, and he was interacting with her. The peeping Tom standing outside never physically interacted with the woman, did he? All he did was look through a window at a woman who already was getting naked. See,
That's
another
equivalency. That's the thing. You said the trait that exists that makes it violent was coercing her. Actually, when we're talking about Donald Trump barging into those dressing rooms, he did coerce them, and he did force them into a position where they were being exploited.
What did he say to them?
The reason why I say that is he didn't even need to have to say anything. I'll tell you the reason why he coerced and forced them into that position. Because there was a false representation that inside of the woman's dressing room, they would have a reasonable expectation of privacy away from men. That gave them the false notion that they could take their clothes off and put themselves in a vulnerable position of nudity while in the process of changing outfits without a man looking at them. By Donald Trump barging into that space without their consent, he is thereby forcing them into a position of vulnerability in the nude where they have a man unconsensually looking at them. That is an actuator of force. That is a variant of coercion.
Well, I don't know if it's coercion, but I do agree with you that it was not right.
Why? Okay, what's coercion? Define coercion. Getting somebody to do something they don't want to do, right? So if you give this false expectation of privacy away from men, so then they get nude, and then you get them to do something they don't want to do, which is to be nude in front of a man that then barges into that space, it is by that definition coercive.
What happens when somebody walks in? Say it was just I understand Trump did it intentionally, but what if he had accidentally walked in? Would he still be, if he didn't do it intentionally, if he just accidentally wandered in, didn't realize there was any naked girls in there, would that still hold the same force and coercion and all the bad things?
Yeah,
My point is, if you're a woman and you're in a space and a guy barges in or he's in there unexpectedly, what's the first thing any modest person will do?
I could explain this to you. First, this doesn't matter because he did it intentionally, as he admitted to it. Secondly, in the hypothetical
it.
scenario where he did do it unintentionally, it would still be coercive, it'd still be forceful, and they would still be victims, okay? But we just wouldn't blame him because he did it unintentionally, outside of neglect.
Right. So one thing is forgivable, the other isn't, is what you're saying. And the only difference is his intention.
The only yes, absolutely. The intention, okay, matters. Absolutely. I'll give you an example. Let me give you an example here. Like, say that I'm a man at Walmart. Let me describe this to you. I'm trying to give you an explanation. So I'm a man at Walmart and I need to use the bathroom. But right before I went to use the bathroom, some like 12-year-old YouTube prankster switched the signs on the bathrooms. So now the sign on the man bathroom said woman and the sign on the woman bathroom said man. But there's already a bunch of women inside of the women's bathroom, but I don't know that. So I'm going into that space intending to take a piss. I'm not going into that space intending to exploit women. And on top of that, I'm not engaging in like foreseeable negligence. Okay. I'm not like drugged up and I don't intend to exploit them because I don't have any intentions at all. I'm just crazy. Okay. And I walk into the quote unquote man's bathroom that is in all reality the woman's bathroom with women inside. Yeah. So they were exploited 110% because it's okay for them to feel as if something wrong was done to them. But ultimately, the blame for that exploitation would not fall on me due to the lack of my intent and the lack of my neglect, but it would rather fall on the person that swapped the bathroom signs. And if there wasn't an agent that swapped bathroom signs, but rather, I just unintentionally did it without neglect, which I kind of see hard to occur because we make the signs on the bathrooms pretty clear. Well, yeah, but in an unforeseeable circumstance of that occurring, right, once again, the blame also wouldn't fall on me because of the lack of the intention to do so. But as it relates to Trump, the reason why we would blame him for this and the reason why we would say he's responsible for doing so is because he did so intentionally and he did so in neglect of the consent of the women inside of that space.
Right. And I said that it was wrong. He should have never done that.
So you do accept that it was an unconsensual sexual action, right?
I don't say that it was a sexual action, but yes, it was unconsensual.
He said it was a sexual action, you freak. Dude, Howard Stern was asking him if he'd have sex with any of the beauty pageant contestants. Then they had like a 40-second conversation about how it would maybe be a violation of, rules or whatever. But then Howard Stern was like, okay, so seriously, Trump, do you have a story for us about the sexual things you've done with the pageant contestants? And then he was like, oh, I'll tell you what I do. I go in there to look at their naked bodies and they look incredible and I get away with it. That is absolutely a sexual action. It is 110% a sexual action. Not only did he say it was a sexual action, but it also is a sexual action for a man to intentionally lot out the naked bodies of women to then look at them in the nude and talk about how incredible they look. So do you accept that it was an unconsensual sexual action?
Yes, fine. If that's the case, if that's the definition we're going to go with, yes, it was definitely unconsensual. The women did not consent to that.
Okay, and after the analogy that I gave you to show that any and all unconsensual sexual actions are violent, even if there's no physical touch, do you also accept that it is violent?
No, I don't agree that just because he didn't touch them, it was violent. Did they actually suffer any harm? Are they in decades of therapy? Did they stop not having kids? Did they never go to another beauty pageant ever again? I mean, if a woman walked in and seen you naked when you didn't expect it, would you really be harmed by that?
Holy fucking shit.
I'm asking. I've been seen naked by people who didn't intend to see naked.
Yes, it is. No harm. It is a harmful thing to sexually exploit people. I would say that all unconsensual sexual actions are harmful. By saying that this was not harmful after moments ago accepting it was an unconsensual sexual action is to say that not all unconsensual sexual actions are harmful. The only people who say that not all unconsensual sexual actions are harmful are fucking freaky fucking predator, either freaky predators or freaky supporters of predators. It's insane. It's insanity to say that there are some unconsensual sexual actions that are not harmful. That's like one of the most insane things that anybody could ever say, could ever suggest, could ever argue. So just make the record clear. Are you arguing that some, not all, but some unconsensual sexual actions are not harmful?
When you state it that way, you're implying touch. Again, when I guess it comes down to the way you
River,
view sexual
dude,
violence.
some freak just sent 8 galaxies to this guy, but I'm so happy that he's on his based ass daughter's account who disagrees with everything that he says. so the freak that sent this guy 8 galaxies, you just gave money to a super cool daughter. And by the way, if you've commented any hate comments under her posts, if she has any, please go delete them. This is his daughter's account, and she's really cool. I need to put a message up on screen. I totally forgot about that. But so I just asked you the question: do you think that all sexual do you think that some unconsensual sexual actions are not harmful? And then you said that implies physical touch. No, it just implies what we've already agreed to. You have already
what level of
agreed
harm
to.
are we talking about?
You've already agreed to the fact that it was an unconsensual sexual action.
Yeah, I understand that. I don't agree that anybody should undergo unwanted sexual attention. But there's always levels of everything, right?
I'd say that any level of harm generated by unconsensual sexual actions is a sufficient level of harm to deem that individual as a bad, violent predator. Oh, I think that maybe River meant to send the galaxies to me. I appreciate you for the love, River.
Like I said, I do not agree with sexually hurting people.
Mary, yeah. Hey, listen, man. I have something else I'd like to...
Personally, maybe I'm just too old to understand it, but
I have something else I'd like to run by you here, but I do have a couple people to thank for the donations real quick. Are you okay with that?
Go ahead.
Mary, I appreciate you for the $10 on Venmo. Says, hey, Dean, the money's for Momo's furniture fund. I probably do need to get her a new cat tree. That's very kind of you, Mary. Show some love to Mary down below. Jared, thank you for the $25. Who says, I know that things are horribly crazy right now, but I never thought in 1,000 years that political debates would come down to arguing whether or not it was okay to violate other people. That is genuinely, actually what we're arguing right now, Jared. It's fucking ridiculous.
Said it's not okay to violate other people.
But then when you go on to ask if it's harmful or not, the implications there are immense. Exactly. It's harmful.
How? In what way? Well, I'm asking an honest question. You tell me how it's harmful if somebody looks at you.
Sure. The reason why it's harmful for somebody to force you into a position that you do not want to be in, where they are looking at your naked body against their will, is the fact that you are infringing upon both their dignity and their autonomy. And infringing on people's dignity and autonomy frustrates the individual's interests. And frustrating the individual's interests generates a grave level of harm. Thank you so much, River, for all the galaxies. I really do appreciate you. Thank you so much, River. I mean, listen, I'll prove to you that it's...
Hey, what do the galaxies mean? I see them flying on the bottom.
I'll prove to you that it's harmful, okay?
Donations.
Oh, okay.
Oh, also, golly God, I do apologize for misgendering you. My chat's letting me know about that. So I do apologize.
Okay.
I do apologize. So
Ollie said it's okay.
Dude, seriously, guys, if you've left any hate comments on Ollie's shit, please go fucking delete them right now. Anyways.
Yeah, I'm Ollie's dad. Sorry, guys.
So, anyways, back to what I was saying, River. I do appreciate you for the galaxies. So, as I said, okay, once again, I just can't believe this conversation. As I said, once again, the reason why it is harmful is because you are frustrating the interests of a dignified person by infringing on their dignity and their autonomy.
Okay.
It's as simple as that. That's why it's harmful.
So their feelings got hurt.
Yep. As well as the second reason why it's harmful is because of the negative psychological mental states that are being highlighted that drive the intention to want to engage in that action in the first place. So the person doing the sexual exploitation is highlighting negative psychological mental states of wanting to infringe on the consent of other people. And then the second reason why it is wrong is you are infringing upon the dignity and the autonomy of the dignified person in which you have coerced and forced into a position where you are looking at their body without their consent. I'm just so fucking surprised that I have to spell it out to you, a 48-year-old man, like
I'm 60, dude.
child. If If a 7-year-old was asking me this question, let me just clarify. If a 70-year-old, thank you so much for all the love, Rivered, was asking me this question, I would still kind of be like, you should know this, but this is a good educational moment. We'll tell you why it's harmful, but this is definitely is there something wrong going on at home? If like a 7-year-old would be asking me the same question, it would still be like, what's going on at home that has led this 7-year-old to not understand why this action is wrong? But you, a 60-year-old? I'm 21.
21, okay.
But you, a 60-year-old, needing this explanation? I got to think a couple more people. I need to calm down and we'll be back to the debate. Okay. I wasn't done thanking people because, I was reading off Jared's message and then you kind of hopped in there. Miss Liz, I appreciate you for the $30 donation on Venmo. And by the way, I will give you a chance to talk for as long as you want after I thank these donors. I've been speaking a lot. I will give you that chance to speak. Liz, thank you so much for the $30 donation on Venmo. Let's get 300 Liz W's in that chat. Thank you so much for that love. Thank you so much. I do really appreciate you. I'll go ahead and fix that message too. There we go. Thank you guys for calling that out in the chat. Liz with the $30 says, hey, Dean, love watching your lives. I love that you spend 4 hours a day to try to change the mind of MAGAs and to educate people. It's definitely a great service. Donating again because I can. Well, I really appreciate you so much, Liz. Thank you so much. Let's get 300 Liz W's in that chat. As well as Maria, thank you for the $10 who says, I just want to say thank you for arguing with these idiots because I work with people like this and it's so frustrating. So thank you for what you do. Well, thank you, Maria, for the $10. Victoria, thank you for the $25 who says, these guys universally ignore the lifelong agony of trauma of rape and childbearing, such a lack of empathy. So fucking true. And we've seen that continued lack of empathy into this new conversation, Victoria. Thank you for the $25. And River, thank you so much for the Interstellar. Oh my goodness. You're being so kind to me. Thank you so much, River. Same thing to you, Cara. Thank you for the $10. Jared, thank you for the $25, just like you. I do also miss the Outdoor Boys. Thank you for the $25, Jared. Amy, thank you so much for the $20 who says, love what you're doing. Hello from a red state that is burning in hell right now. 112 degrees in Montana. Stay safe. Seriously, Amy, that is scary as hell. Thank you for the $20. And then Jonathan, thank you for the $5. Dakota, thank you for the $2. Megan, thank you for the $3. Reagan, thank you for the $5. Elizabeth, thank you so much for the $15. I'm so happy that we could help you get through January. Thank you so much for tuning in. Shout out to Elizabeth. And then Kaden, thank you for the $20 who says, Dean, I watch your streams because I want to get better at debating myself and you help me live in a house full of Trump supporters. I'm so happy that I can help you live in that house. Feel free to get them on the live stream to debate me anytime, by the way. I did see that last part of your donation message. And with all that being said, we're caught up on Venmo for now. To quickly catch up on Super Chat, thank you for the 10 New Zealand dollars. Panda who says, a lot of your guests seem unable to make the connection that just because it wasn't physical means that it wasn't violent. I know, but it absolutely was violent. It caused harm. That's what violent things do. They cause harm. Mr. Flinch, I appreciate you so much for the $5. Katie with the 5. Flinch with another 5. Mary with the $10. I appreciate you so much, Mary. And then the Full Band with the $20. He said he's too stupid to track. Yikes, man. I appreciate you for the $20 Full Band. And then Naomi with the $20 as well, who says, I'll never forget a few streams back how that one girl wished a rape and death on the live chat while claiming to be pro-life. Oh my goodness, Naomi, I totally forgot about that, genuinely. Yeah, that did happen. And then T with the $20 says, caller cannot engage in deep enough thought to compare hypotheticals. Let him focus on when his term is coming up or the rest stop is at his trucking routes. I appreciate you for the $20. And as well as Jose, I appreciate you so much for the $50 donation on Super Chat. I want to see 500 Jose W's, as well as a bunch of continued love for River. Thank you so much for the love, Jose. Jose with the $50. This came in a while ago when we were talking about abortion still, but I'll still read it. For Dean, if the caller was drugged by a female and then had him impregnate her while he was drugged, would he be required to pay child support? Yeah, hopefully he'd say no there, which shows a lack of an obligation to provide that care, right? Full Band, thank you for the $20 who says, this man is either dishonest or too stupid to track. That was also sent 30 minutes ago. I think we've determined which one of those two answers is the right answer. Flinch and Delilah, I appreciate you guys for the $10, as well as Ryan. Thank you for the $50 as well. Holy crap. Thank you so much. Let's get 500 Ryan W's and another 200 TWs for the $10. Once again, both Ryan and T just railing on this guess, as well as FD. Thank you for the $10 who says, I work at a recycling plant crushing empty cola cans. It's so depressing. That's funny. And then Lord T, thank you for the $10 as well, sharing the breaking news about Mitch McConnell. And with all that being said, we're caught up on the Super Chat and on Venmo. We're going to quickly catch up on PayPal. Then the mic in the floor will be for this guest for as long as they want it because I've been talking a lot. Chris Crystal, thank you for the $15, who says, ask him about taking photos of them. That's not touching them. Yeah, is like the creation of CSAM, child pornography, violent if you're just taking a photo of the child without touching the child? Obviously, the answer is yes, which is a really good counterexample against what this guest is saying. Good job, Crystal. Natalie, thank you for the $10, who says the same thing as Crystal. Somebody videotaped me during intimacy. I'm so sorry to hear that, Natalie. Without my knowledge or permission, then posted it on porn sites, including my face, also without my knowledge or permission. I'm permanently messed up after this. No different than a peeping Tom. This guy you're talking to is so sick. First point, Natalie, I'm so sorry to hear that happened to you. And second point, you are right, because that is what this guest's logic leads to. Same thing to Anthony and Daniel. I appreciate you guys for the $5. Jonas, thank you so much for the $15, and shout out to your friend, as well as Jush, Jush. Thank you for the $33, who says, been watching for so long now. I'm excited to see what you're able to accomplish in the future. I love you. Well, thank you. I love you too, Josh. And I appreciate you for your kind words, as well as the donation. Thank you so very much. And then we have two more, then we'll finally pass the mic back to the guest. Thank you, No Bass, for the $21, who says, Dean, I'm in the Netherlands and I hate to see Trump screwing up this world. I hope that the nightmare is over soon so we don't have to see this dumb orange being corrupt and delusional anymore. Yeah, we really need to get people like Trump out of politics so then men like this aren't led so astray. As well as Kathy with the $10 says, did you see the proof of life picture of Mitch that has been released? I've still not seen that. I'll actually probably look it up while this guest is talking. I will say, if you are watching the stream and you do want to support me, everybody, you could find a link to my Venmo and my PayPal in the link tree in my bio on TikTok, pin message on the YouTube stream, as well as the handles at the top of the phone screen on TikTok too. It's just my name, Dean Withers, without the letter E in my last name, Withers, but do quadruple check that spelling because it is really specific and there are a bunch of fake scamming accounts out there. As well as huge shout out to River. River, you've been so fucking kind to me. I really appreciate you. You are the absolute uncontested GOAT. While we're hopping in back into the debate, show some love to all the donors and especially River. I'm very grateful for you. I've been talking for a while, Mr. Guy. The last thing that I said, just to catch you up, was that the reason why it's violent is because it frustrates the interests of the person who you're infringing on with dignity and autonomy, as well as it highlights negative psychological states, on top of the fact that there are many other sexual actions that don't include physical touch that we could point towards that are clearly violence, such as the coerce and force and the hypothetical that I gave earlier, or as some of the donors pointed out, taking pictures of people in the nude, then posting them on the internet, of course, does not necessitate physical touch, but it is still definitely sexually violent, including the anecdote shared by let's see here, Natalie, about somebody recording their intimacy then posting it online, and the fact that they have taken trauma away from that. Go ahead and respond. I won't interrupt you. The mic and the floor are yours for as long as you want.
Well, just so we're clear, I am against all violence against women. I don't want to see anybody sexually assaulted in any way, shape, or form. The peeping Tom analogy that I was given, while it definitely violates her privacy, there's no physical violence involved. That's all the point I was trying to make there. Doesn't make it right, doesn't mean that it should be acceptable at any level, or that it isn't illegal. It's just that I disagree that there's any form of actual violence occurring in that moment, even though you're violating their privacy and their expectation of privacy. As far as photographs and stuff going, yes, it's wrong and illegal to take photos of people and post them without their knowledge on the internet. And if you want to get in, I know somebody made something about child pornography. Oh, taking pictures of naked kids is pornography. Yet, if you go back to the 70s, there was a lot of naturalist magazines and books where people who were just nudists take photos, and they were books published with families, little children. They were not in sexual positions. They were just naked people living everyday lives, and these were published and sold to people just like any other book, but it wasn't considered pornography. Now, it also, I doubt, would be you can look it up. You will find it. I'm not making this up. But yeah, there were many naturalist stuff that people just living naked lifestyles, and that was their style. And photos and books were published in magazines. So, I mean, I disagree that those publications were violence against the women or children that the photos were taken, because it wasn't against their consent. That is the way the families lived. Oh, I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But people had a different viewpoint. So I'm not saying I'm going out looking at it. I'm just saying it's there and it exists and it happened. Right? Today, they don't sell those same books that were sold in the 70s because they're looked at as pornography now. But at the time, they weren't. And it wasn't violence against people. It was just kids and out playing volleyball and badminton. And they happened to have no clothes on. And there was nothing sexual about it. Right? Do you understand what naturalists are? That's a question. Have you ever heard? I know you're letting me talk, but I'm asking you a question. Have you ever heard of a nudist colony or naturalist? You seem shocked.
Yeah. Yeah, I am shocked. Let's go
Why?
through this. There are magazines from the 70s that you could buy with pictures of naked kids inside. Brooke Shields was 15 when she did an ad for Calvin Klein without a top on.
Yeah.
That's true. And that was the sexual exploitation of children. That was sexual exploitation of children that was socially accepted and predominant in society as a whole. Just like 100 years before, the 1970s, the 1870s, sexual exploitation of children that was completely socially permissible, accepted, and adopted would be for 40-year-old men to marry and rape 13-year-old girls. Just
That's
because
still happening
something
now.
is socially accepted does not mean that it is therefore not wrong or not sexual violence. There's no difference in a child's ability to actuate consent today to be photographed in the nude than it was 30 years ago, 50 years ago, 80 years ago, 100 years ago, or 200
Not
years
answer
ago.
my question.
It
You know
does
what
not
you're
matter.
from.
It does not matter what the intention of the photographer is when they're taking naked pictures of children. It is
They weren't just
wrong
taking naked pictures
in
of children.
all
They're taking naked
scenario.
pictures. You're ignoring the fact that it was an entire family. I asked you, do you know what a naturalist is?
Yeah, it's even
You know-
almost worse to take naked pictures of children with naked adults standing right next to them. Yeah, that definitely doesn't make anything better.
so-
That 100, that definitely does not make anything
So
better.
a family that chooses to be a nudist, right? To live nude. You know what a nudist is? A naturalist.
Yeah, they shouldn't
choose
be able to
live
do that
nude
with
without
kids.
clothes. When they go out into public, they put clothes on. But when they're in their private spaces, they walk around naked.
Yeah, in a larger collective or a colony of nudists, the children should not be allowed to be nude. And I even think that there's some implications there that I don't like about the children who aren't nude just seeing other adults who are nude, as well as what that could lead to with the outcomes of sexual violence that exists in those communities that nobody doesn't talk about, which is maybe a reason why we should just get rid of nudist communities that include minors
so
at
we
all.
should outlaw their ability to
But-
do that. Make
yes.
that illegal.
Yes, but
Oh,
that we're not
wow.
even talking about.
not right.
Should we make? Yeah, I think we should make it illegal for random adults that are naked to see random
What
kids that are
about-
naked. Yes, okay. But
what about,
regardless of my thoughts on that, which are clear, it should be illegal for random adults to be around random naked children. Yes, that is true, 110% true. It becomes something different when it's then turned into media, such as photographs that are shared, disseminated, and published on the internet without the consent of the child. Listen, it is never okay for a naked photo of anybody
But
to
a
be
child
published
is
online
not
without
legally
consent.
allowed to give consent.
Legally,
You cannot get legal consent from a
socially,
child.
morally, yes, you cannot get a consent from a child, which is why you cannot take a naked photo of a child.
Well, they did.
And that was wrong. It was sexually
But if
exploitive.
you're going to say that, but then there's also
Do you accept that was
society-
wrong for them to unconsensually take photos of naked children?
No, they were part. It was part of. It was part.
You're
of their
saying
life.
that it's not always wrong to take unconsensual naked photos of kids, dude?
The families agreed to it.
It
They
doesn't
had to sign off.
matter. It doesn't
It does
matter.
matter.
No, it doesn't.
Because you don't agree with their lifestyle. I'm not
It
saying
doesn't
I would
matter
do
what
it.
the parents said. Parents have the right, the control, and the say-so over what their child does in the realm of decisions that they could make that are instrumentally rational for the better outcomes of the life of that child. And the reason why I mention this is because it explains why a parent can tell a child to get off the Xbox and the kid has to listen or the kid gets punished, and we have no issue with that, to do their homework, but a parent can't sell their child on the black market because that does not fall within the category of things that is good for the outcomes of that child. Same thing would apply to taking naked photos of that child. That's why I think parents who will take naked photos of their children and sell them on the internet to predators should go to jail alongside the predators that buy it. And I think that that is an uncontroversial claim that everybody should be able to agree with. And I think it is so disgraceful and so disgusting that you would sit here and tell us that it's not always wrong to take naked photos of children.
I'm not saying that it's not wrong to take these photos. What I'm saying is these are people who think differently back in the 70s and the 60s.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the way that people think. All that matters is what actually is, and what actually is true is that child couldn't consent to that.
Well, I get that. But what about like when National Geographic's, right? National Geographic's, a nature magazine, when they sent photo journalists down to like tribes in the Amazon, and you got entire villages, men, women, children, are all running around naked. Guys hanging around, old guys, young guys with their dinguses out. They tie them up with little strings. Young kids butt naked running around. It's just day-to-day life.
Yeah,
And
National
these
Geographic should
photojournalists
not
went
have
down there
included any pictures of naked children in their publication. And if they did,
There's
that was really
older-
fucked up of them.
There was older publications of National Geographic where, yeah, you absolutely did. You've seen naked photos. There's been jokes for years, decades, where kids.
I don't think that this is a joking matter. I will never endorse a CP collection. What's going on?
But what I'm saying
CSAM is not a joking matter.
In Africa, in South America, these people live and they don't always wear the same clothes we do. Some of the women are tops are open. Some kids are running around naked. Yeah. National Geographic's photographed these people. They were published in the magazines from other countries. It's just a way of life. It's not sexual in nature. All they were doing is taking honest photographs of the day-to-day life of these people. It was the same thing with the nudists in this country from the 60s and 70s. It wasn't sexual in nature. They weren't preying on anybody. They were just photographing these people at resorts.
This is just what predators say. Also, like you're talking about like these tribes in Africa where they don't wear many clothes.
Definitely sexual in nature.
And then you're arguing that it was okay for National Geographic to take photos of them because it wasn't sexual in nature. I don't care if a photo of a child is or is not sexual in nature. If the child didn't consent to it because they can't consent, so therefore it's wrong in all scenarios, then it's wrong to do.
That are naked. Have you ever seen naked baby photos? The cutest.
Yeah, like a good example of this is the Nirvana photo. Is the Nirvana cover of their album?
Album cover, right?
Yeah, that's fucked up. I fully side with that baby who's now an adult, saying, "Hey, this is fucked up. Get my baby penis off of this album cover." Yeah, that's fucked.
Who is he? What's his name?
I don't know. I just saw a news report about him a couple years ago.
Nobody knows his name but him.
I don't need to know his name in order to agree with him that's fucked up.
Right, but it was innocent, right?
And also keep in mind, this whole conversation has to do with Donald Trump barging into the dressing rooms of naked little girls to look at them and call them incredible.
That's another thing. That's what I was going to talk to you about that too, because you said I get to talk a little bit.
Do you just have a collection of quote unquote legal CSAM?
Do I have a collection of what?
Do you own these books where you have a bunch of pictures of naked children?
No.
But would you condemn people that do own these books? Would you condemn people that do own? Would you condemn people that do own these books that have pictures of naked children in them?
Not naked families. No. If it's child pornography, yes, I will condemn that 100%. If you're posing children in sexually provocative poses just to turn people on.
So as long as the child is naked but not posed in a way in which you think is sexually provocative, then it's okay.
What I'm saying is
this is fucking insanity. I've never talked to somebody as insane as you.
I'm not insane. As a matter of fact, I'm a little more open-minded than you are.
Oh, yeah, I think you're a little bit too open-minded, buddy.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Oh yeah. You're fucking too open-minded. Whoa, it's okay to have naked pictures of children on my phone. A little bit too open-minded.
Do you think that just because a person's going to see a photograph of a naked child that they're going to be sexually aroused?
The fact is that pedophiles exist. And because it is the fact that pedophiles exist, and people are sexually aroused by naked children of, if you're not a pedophile, then I don't think you'd want to see if you're not a pedophile, then I don't think that you would want to see a naked photo of a child.
Right, and that's why I don't go searching them out.
Okay, so
However,
if you agree
I
the
were
only
looking-
people that would want to see a naked photo of a child are pedophiles, then obviously National Geographic shouldn't have included photos of naked children in their publications, because the only people that appeals to are pedophiles.
Well, that's wrong. See,
So you're saying that you could want to see... Are you arguing that you could want to see a naked photo of a child without being a pedophile?
What I'm arguing is...
Yes or no? Yes or no? Can you want to see a naked photo of a child without being a pedophile?
What I'm saying is you can see a naked photo of a child. Like,
I want you to answer my question. Can you want to see a naked photo of a child without being a pedophile? Yes or no?
can you want to? You probably are a pedophile if you're going to search out naked photos of children.
So do you agree in order to want to see a photo of a naked child, you have to be a pedophile?
To what? Yeah, pretty much. But I
Okay,
don't
so then
think
the only people that would
saying-
want to see that would be pedophiles, and that's why it's wrong for National Geographic to publish
No, see,
naked
that's
photos
what-
of children,
Ah,
or to have Brooke
listen,
Shields
come on, stop,
pose without a top
stop,
on when
stop,
she's 15.
Stop. My turn to talk. Stop.
Well, you don't
When it
care
comes
about the
to
consent of
National
kids. Why should I care about your consent and ability to speak?
Well, yeah, I know, because you want to just bowl over my point. You don't even want me to get my point of view out, because I might make a little bit of sense.
Okay, and maybe those
Guy
children
with the
didn't want their
pea
naked
brain.
body to get out. Okay, but yeah, what
Look,
can we do,
listen,
right? It's totally fine.
You're only 21. You don't know much about the world yet. You haven't.
Oh yeah, and they're
experienced
only
a lot.
like
You haven't
fucking
seen a
3
lot.
years old. They don't know anything about the world, and you're okay with
Exactly.
naked
You don't know
photos of them
anything
being
about the world.
public.
You understand that there are other cultures in this world that think and do things differently than you do.
Oh,
Now,
yeah,
when you
like
look
the
at
MAGA
National
culture of
Geographic,
arguing
we're
that it's
gonna
maybe
say-
okay to sexually exploit kids. Your culture, your MAGA culture, that little culture right there,
hang on.
the culture that you're promoting right now on the stream, that
I am
it doesn't
not
harm
promoting
people to look at them
sexual
naked, and
exploitation.
it's actually okay to have
Hang on.
naked photos of children on your phone?
I am not promoting the sexual exploitation of children, and I'm trying to give you a fucking explanation if you would shut up for one moment. You did say I get to talk, right?
Oh, you know what?
Thank you.
You know
Now,
what?
listen, I know you
Do
can just cut me off at any time. and you can
Brianna,
take
thank
it
you for the
away.
$5 on Venmo. Jared, thank you for the $25 who says maybe this is
Thanks,
why this guy
Jared.
supports
Thanks. Keep
Trump.
supporting this guy.
Dean,
Maybe
it's
he'll
okay.
support some people and donate some of this money to
He
a
was
worthy
doing
charity. Hey,
He was doing that shit
when
with
it
kids.
comes
It's his
to-
culture. Right, Jared. That's exactly what I just said. Thank you for the $25 on Venmo. Let's show some love to Jared down
when
below. As well as
When it comes to
Josie,
other
thank you so much
cultures
for the
in
galaxy
other
as well.
countries like Africa and stuff, you get to see natives, and they put on dances, they get dressed up, and yes, sometimes there are young girls that are naked, and they're doing tribal dances and stuff. And National Geographic sends reporters there, and they do a whole piece on this culture, these people, this village, this whole type of people, and they show the people how they are. The fact that they live in like a tropic zone where they don't need a lot of clothing.
River, thank you so much for the
Naked.
galaxies and the interstellar. I really appreciate you, River. Thank you so much.
Isn't a big deal. And the fact that these kids are running around every day in and day out, nobody thinks twice about it. It's not sexual in nature.
Yeah.
Just because they were photographed and portrayed exactly as they are every day in the magazine does not make that picture of a naked child pornography. There's nothing sexual about it. All right? Just because I, as an adult, would be reading the magazine and I'd read about this culture and I see the naked kids doesn't mean I'm getting sexually aroused by those photos. I didn't pick up the book for that, but it happened to be in there. So yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with those photos or the stories. Why shy away from a part of human nature and a certain culture just because there happens to be naked people in it? The human body is not something to be shunned or vilified. It's perfect the way God made it in all of its stages. There's nothing wrong with naked children. There's nothing wrong with naked teens. There's nothing wrong with naked young people in their 20s, 30s, even old people like me. 20s, 30s, even old people like me. If you see a naked body. All right? But, so yeah, I don't have a problem with naked photos of naked people, even if they happen to be kids. But I do not support or like the child.
I just kicked him. This is MAGA. Carolina Bros, I really appreciate you for that really awesome TikTok gif. I'm very grateful for you. Please do show some love to Carolina Bros down below in that comment section. I'm just a little bit mentally disturbed right now. So I do apologize if I'm not showing enough love. I'm very grateful for you, Carolina Bros. But this is a bit difficult to continue. First thing I'm going to do, I think I have an obligation to explain why that guy was wrong. Okay? Why do I have an obligation to describe why that guy is wrong? Because if I'm going to platform his thoughts, statements, his justification, I have an obligation to prove that it is incorrect. First and foremost, he said, that's the way God designed the bodies of people to be. It's okay to see the naked bodies of anybody because it's what God designed. So then why did God in Genesis 1 and 2, after the introduction of original sin, okay, endorse and support Adam and Eve covering their bodies? It's because there is no such thing as purity and unconsensual nudity. And we know this because that's the way society has operated for so long. There is no such thing as this idealistic world where kids are naked and kids are not exploited. That world only exists in the minds of predators that want to convince you that they are not. When kids are naked, kids are exploited. And he rests a lot of his argument on this claim about how it's not sexual in nature. Okay? I just had somebody on Super Chat tell me that I'm being thoughtless on this. Jesus fucking Christ. Regardless if an action is or is not sexual by nature, this does not change the fact that a child cannot actuate consent to being viewed while naked. And even if it is not sexual by nature, it is turned into something that is sexual, and my evidence would be the existence of CSAM. My evidence would be the multi-billion-dollar industry that is ran under the noses of you, me, and every other person watching this live of the transmission and exchange of the naked photos of children, either originating from parents, originating from abusers, or originating from National Geographic. I feel really bad for that man's child. They had to sit through that conversation and listen to everything that their dad said. Everything that their dad said. That is dead ass one of the most disgusting things I think I've ever heard on live. Bro. Like, as soon as you start saying, oh, there's nothing wrong with naked toddlers, nothing wrong with naked preteens, nothing wrong with naked teens, like as soon as you start saying that, I'm just quoting word for word what he said before I kicked him. Like, you're wrong, all right? Just like keep that in mind. Like, you are wrong. Jason, do you support Trump?
Yeah, computer's gonna take this night off. I
understand, computer. I understand.
Have a good night.
Yeah, you too. Yeah, damn, bro. That guy was so fucked up that he even demoralized the trolls. That guy was so fucked up he even demoralized the trolls. He demoralized computer. Ryan, do you support Trump?
We are Dean Withers. We can't.
That right there is another reason why it's wrong to share naked children or to take naked photos of children, because children don't understand anything. They can't consent to the action of having a photo being taken of them while they're naked because they're kids. They don't understand shit. And the reason why I say that is because that was a kid that didn't understand the gravity of the last conversation and thought it was an acceptable time to sing We Are Dean Withers, which just points further towards my conclusion that it's wrong to view or to take a photo of a child while they are naked because they are children that don't understand shit. They can't consent to that action. Let's go to get that next guest connected. Only hop inside of the queue if you do happen to be MAG, everybody. I would appreciate that. Also, guys, let's stop spamming. I saw this in the chat. When he was up here, y'all are saying this man thinks naked pics of kids are okay. Let's stop. Let's stop. Like, on God, let's stop spamming that message now. On God, let's stop spamming that message now. Let's, he's got, dude. Let's think it through. Let's think it through, chat. Let's think it through. Let's stop spamming that message. Saw that, freaked me out a little bit. We could stop spamming that message now. For everybody new tuning in, that's not about me. That's about our last guest. Just me, Ped. Welcome in. Do you support Trump?
Oh, my bad. I did not mean to actually accept this.
Oh, nah, no worries. Let's go and move on to the next guest. Only hop inside of the queue if you do happen to be an American adult that supports Donald J. Trump as president. Let's go to get the next guest connected. Only hop inside of the queue if you do happen to be MAG, everybody. We got Jason loading in. Honestly, guys, I've heard some really crazy shit. I've heard some really fucking crazy shit on these live streams in the years that I have been doing it. Okay? Some really crazy shit. And that's why I'm so desensitized to so many of the things that guests say. But, like, that was a new fucking level. Oh, man, I'm gonna be hung up on that for a while. Jason, do you support Trump?
For the most part.
How old are you?
I'm 23.
Okay, what year were you born in?
2002.
Okay, I have a couple of people to thank. Are you alright if I take a moment to do that before you hop into things?
Go for it.
Homero, thank you for the $10 over on Venmo. Says, when I was 30, my grandpa tried setting me up with a 14-year-old girl. I'm like, Grandma, she's 14. She goes to say, yes, perfect, right? Older people are something else. Jesus fuck, dude. Dean, thanks for trying to educate people like this. I appreciate it. Well, Homero, what I think it represents and embodies is just the fact that, like, society is genuinely not safe for everyone. And I think that we treat society as if it is generally good because we like to live comfortable lives. But looking even back like 30, 40 years, people were just totally okay with pedophilia in so many senses. Austin, I appreciate you so much for the $20 on Venmo. I appreciate you so much. Let's get 200 Austin W's down below in that chat. Anthony, thank you for the $10. He says, can you explain how that last topic came up, talking about Donald Trump barging into the dressing rooms of naked little girls? He was arguing that it wasn't harmful. Lewis, thank you for the $10. I appreciate you. Lori, thank you for the $10. I appreciate you so much. The fact that he did not recognize that what he was saying was wrong and that he's going to have consequences is what is scary. I know what else I've been thinking about that really scared me about that last conversation is seemingly how much time he's invested into thinking through the subject as if it's something that he's thought about before. Catherine, thank you for the $10, who says the guest oodling nudist colonies to prove his point is despicable. Sincerely, a daughter that was raised by a convicted PDF that used nudist colonies photos as CSAM. He's serving 70 years. Keep up the good fight, Dean. Thank you so much for the $10, Catherine. Jesus fucking Christ. Angelina, I appreciate you for the $1 as well. Louisa, thank you so much for the $20, who says, OMG, sending another $20. Sick of the boomers. I'm literally 42 and the 60 plus losers. Disgusting. He was so fucking disgusting, Louisa. Thank you for the $20. Same thing to Alicia. Thank you so much for the $20, who says you can't dictate what someone else determines to be sexual. It makes those kids unsafe. Yes. Thank you for the $20, Alicia. Tiffany, thank you for the $10. I appreciate you. Jonathan, thank you for the $5. Jenna, thank you for the $20, who says, I'm 56 years old and this man is insane. Doctors also used to tell pregnant women to smoke so that they didn't gain too much weight back in the day, but that doesn't make it right. Absolutely, Jenna. And then Megan, thank you for the $30, who says, thank you for having hard conversations and making positive progress in our country. I can't imagine how draining this must be. Take care of yourself and treat yourself. Wishing you well. Well, thank you so much, Megan. I appreciate you for the $30. You are awesome, awesome, awesome. As well as Jared with the $25 says, okay, maybe this is why the guy supports Trump. Quote unquote, Dean, it's okay. He was doing all the bad stuff with kids. Yeah. Bonnie, thank you so much for the $20. I appreciate you. Ashley, thank you for the $20. You shout out to you. Esme, that is ESME. Thank you for the $20 as well. He says, thank you for all that you debate about. It's nice to see you educate so many people. I appreciate you, Esme. Kelly, thank you for the $5. Olivia, thank you for the $5. Bethany, thank you for the $10. And Richard with the $20, who says 2 trans kids and he still doesn't get it. Yeah, I feel so fucking bad for them. Samaran with the $20 says, when I was 11 and I started my period, my stepdad told me old enough to bleed. old enough to breed. This disturbed me terribly. He didn't lay a hand on me. He still did enormous harm to my life and my future relationships. This was sexual violence. I'm so fucking sorry. I'm so fucking sorry, Samaran. That is terrible. I appreciate you for the $20. Like, though, it's just... Jesus Christ. Amara, I appreciate you for the $15 as well. That is so fucking bad. Thank you so much, Amara, for the $15. I appreciate you. Amber, thank you so much for the $5. And Samira, thank you for the $1. We are all caught up on Venmo to get caught up on Super Chat. Thank you, Mackenzie, for the 50 Canadian dollars, who says there are no words for that last call. Genuinely no fucking words, Mackenzie. That was so disgusting. Same thing to you, Sandra. Thank you for the $50, who says this caller's exposing a sick, perverted mind. I couldn't agree more. And then T with the $50 says, I'm done with this caller and I'm hopeful that this mindset is dying out. Brooke Shields has an entire documentary about the trauma she suffered throughout her own life because of CSAM, her own mother signed her up for. Yeah, I think that last man probably needs to go watch her documentary on it. On PayPal, thank you, Abby, for the $5, who says that last guest was a disgusting perv. True. Robin, thank you for the $1. Nikki, thank you for the $6. Shivani, thank you for the $10. Juliana, thank you for the $10. Miss Cole, thank you for the $12. I appreciate you. Who says, this has been so interesting. I usually tune into your streams as you give me motivation to complete art, but I've actually ended up learning a lot about politics, so thank you very much. Well, I'm happy that you've been able to learn. And then River, thank you for the $20, who says, as a victim of rape, hearing somebody say these things so-called men are absolutely terrifying, and then they wonder why we don't feel safe around them. Yeah, that last man was a very, very unsafe man. Holy shit. Very unsafe man. Then, of course, to you as well. Soleil, thank you for the $16, who says, love you, Dean, love you too. Ruby, thank you for the $5. And Natalie, thank you for the 10. With all that being said, we're caught up. Go ahead and take it away and tell us why you support Trump. I appreciate you for your patience.
You're welcome. I specifically support Trump for his anti-abortion policies. I believe very strongly that we should not be able to kill the unborn.
Okay, I think that we definitely should.
Okay, that's crazy.
I think that actually we should give tax breaks to women that get more abortions. I just think that there should be a federal minimum requirement that women get at least 24 bi-monthly. If they can't quite hit that quota, maybe we give them a fine. But if they go over that quota, then we give them 2 to 3% back on their taxes at the end of the year.
Wait. So are you... I'm sorry, maybe I'm misunderstanding. Are you suggesting that women should be obligated to get an abortion?
Oh, it's not a suggestion. I think it's a social imperative. It just needs to happen.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or not.
No, yeah, I'm totally trolling you. Sorry for throwing you off. Go ahead.
Okay. I guess I'm not really sure where to start.
Do you think that rape victims should be able to access abortion?
No, there should be no exceptions.
What about the life of the mother?
So there's not really going to be any specific need. When you say life of the mother, are you specifically referring to ectopic pregnancies or any pregnancies that you feel could harm the life of the mother?
Ectopic pregnancies are a good example. I have a sister who works in medicine. They perform life-saving abortions all of the time for women with ectopic pregnancies where they need the abortion or they die.
Right. So an ectopic pregnancy, I do feel, is a bit different than a pregnancy that is going to be viable or already is viable. Because obviously in an ectopic pregnancy, if you were to let it continue, then both mother and child would perish in the end.
Okay. Do you agree that there's examples of viable pregnancies that have killed women?
Yeah, of course. Of course, women can die in labor, of course.
Do you think that those women should have been able to access abortion if they knew that they would die otherwise?
No.
What is going on? Is there a full moon outside? Oh, it's fucking daylight. It's 6 p.m. My friend. Why?
Oh my gosh. Let's see. Okay, so you're saying if the pregnant mom had some type of crystal ball that could tell the future.
She knew that she was going to die, or she was just diagnosed with severe preeclampsia, eclampsia, HELLP syndrome. You know, embolisms with the amniotic fluid, you know, any of these things. It's a viable pregnancy, but it's going to kill her if she doesn't get an emergency abortion. You said that she shouldn't be able to get one.
No.
Why?
Okay. I can explain. So the way that we perform abortions today, it has nothing to do with removing the child and has everything to do with murdering the child prior to removing
sometimes you have to kill it for safer removal.
No. You can remove the child for safer removal. That's the key word there. So
because
you want
otherwise you have to like induce labor or do a C-section. But when somebody's struggling with severe preeclampsia, that itself could kill them.
Yes, of course, pregnancy and labor and delivery runs the risk.
No, but like it was specific underlying conditions that only occur in like less than 1% of pregnancies. It's not just an underlying risk of like 1 to 3%. It's an overwhelming risk of, you know, what some doctors will say in particular scenarios based on the diagnosis of like 70 to 90%.
Okay. I'd like to cite that source. I'd be interested to see that. I'm not doubting you. I'm just saying,
just like
I'd be
in a scenario,
interested to see
how
that
about
myself.
we make it simple? Sophia, think of the galaxy. In a scenario where the woman's going to die if we don't kill the fetus, should we be able to kill the fetus? Yes or no?
No. The
woman should die?
The goal of healthcare should always be to strive to save both lives. The goal.
But I'm saying that we know that we can't because it's pre-assumed and baked into the hypothetical that if we don't kill the fetus, the woman will die, and if we do kill the fetus, the woman will live.
You can't know that for 100%.
I just asking you about your moral principles, about where you rest. If we do know that to a particularly like trustworthy degree of certainty, should that woman be able to kill the fetus? Yes or no?
That's a really tough one, to be honest. It's a really tough one.
Tough at all. Columbus cells are
but it is because they're both humans. Okay, they're both humans, and you're asking me to place more value on one versus the other.
I am.
Right. But that's not
which you could
morally correct.
You could totally do that.
Speaking,
you could totally do that. You could totally be pro-life and do that. You could be pro-life and think that the fetus has the right to life.
Yes,
but they're still less valuable than you and me.
Why? Because of their size?
Because of their lack of an ability to intellectualize, experience first-person subjective experiences.
So does a newborn. So should a mother be able to kill her 4-month-old newborn?
Well, that claim is false. First-person subjective experiences emerge at 20 through 24 weeks in womb. I thought that you knew the science since you're so pro-life and whatnot. I thought that you know these intricacies. Clearly, you haven't done a day of research.
That's funny.
Oh, it's sad.
Okay. No, not really. It's sad that you advocate on a platform for the mass murder of the unborn. I mean, they're innocent. They didn't
what's the
ask.
argument that it's murder?
I'm sorry. Repeat that.
What's the argument that abortion is murder?
The intentional ending of a life, of a human life. The intentional ending of a human life.
Yeah. So you think it's always wrong to intentionally end human life?
Unless somebody's trying to kill you and you have to kill them to
like
save
a
yourself.
fetus in the uterus that you said you would still argue they shouldn't be able to abort.
Okay, but in that scenario where a woman is pregnant, you don't have to so barbarically
I literally asked you if the only way to
somebody.
save the life of the pregnant woman is to kill the fetus. You said, no, you shouldn't be able to kill the fetus. But then you go on to say it's actually okay to kill human life if the other human life is trying to kill you. Okay, well, it is. The fetus is
the
going to
baby
kill you.
in the womb is not intentionally trying
Does
to kill
intention
the
matter?
mother.
Dude,
Yes, intention matters.
Okay, all right, I'm going to give you the best reductio to that claim ever. Are you ready to get absolutely fucking owned?
Go for it.
Okay, we got some absolutely drugged up, insane 6'4" man that is so drugged up, he has no fucking clue what's going on. He doesn't intend to do a goddamn thing. But because of how drugged up he is, he sees you and he just starts trying to rip you to shreds. Not intentionally because of the drugs, but he is still yet trying to rip you to shreds. You're carrying a concealed 9mm pistol. Are you justified in pulling that out of your waistband and shooting him dead because he's attempting to kill you, even though he's not intending to kill you?
Dude, what? It's crazy that you have to take these scenarios and like come up with 1 in a million freaking like, dude.
Dude, answer the question, bro.
No.
Get owned. Get owned. Get absolutely owned. You just got owned.
You literally said that he would be trying to kill me. So what is
not
your
intending to
definition of
kill you.
trying if intention isn't included?
Yeah, seeking a goal. Yeah, things can seek goals without intending to seek a goal. A really good example of this would be unicellular organisms' response to external stimuli.
Oh, okay.
Just
Dude,
goal
if
seeking.
somebody okay.
Owned.
If somebody okay, cool. You win that one, Dean.
Owned.
Okay. If you want to
That's
win
right.
that one,
That's
you
right.
you won that one. Yes.
Owned.
Okay. Yeah. If there was a deranged man on drugs trying without the intention to kill me, then yeah, I would be forced to defend myself
Okay,
if
so
I had
pregnant
the
women
ability
that have
to do
pregnancies
so.
that are going to kill them are forced to defend themselves by killing the fetus. Just
No.
concede, bro. Oh,
No.
you're crazy. You're crazy.
No.
So do you
because
think the fact that the fetus is a member of the human species is a thing that makes it morally valuable?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so why do you think our species gives us value? Okay.
What?
Owned. Why is our species the thing that gives us value?
Because the law and God defines it as such?
Okay, the law. Okay, we don't care about the law because the law didn't define
Clearly
black people as
not.
people 250 years ago. That didn't make it okay to kill them. So the law doesn't matter. Now, your second claim was God?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, are you a Christian?
Yes.
Would God ever be okay with abortion?
No.
Numbers 5:31 through 35. Owned. He specifically endorses abortion for pregnant women who are impregnated by cheating on their husbands. He tells them to go to the local priest and they'll give that woman bitter waters. And if she cheated on her husband, it will force a miscarriage and kill the unborn. Owned.
Okay. Are you aware of the vast differences from the Old Testament to the New Testament? You do realize that Numbers, the book of Numbers, is found in the Old Testament, not the New Testament.
Yeah.
And
is
we
it still
know-
God? Is it still
and
God in
we-
the Old Testament? Is it still your God in the Old Testament? And the question was, would God ever be okay with abortion? Even if like this whole fuck the Old Testament, we only look at the Old New Testament thing is true, and God just suddenly changed his mind in 32
Well, because
AD,
if you're
in
Christian, then
32
yes,
AD.
then-
like that's
then
fine.
yes, you
But
believe
that's
that
still a
Jesus
point
came to
where
fulfill
God
the
was
Old
okay
Testament.
with abortion, right?
He was also okay with other crazy shit in the Old Testament too. Like you couldn't dig a hole 10 cubits from a freaking donkey. Like
Wait. A perfect, maximally great, and all-knowing God was okay with some crazy shit? That's heresy. You can't say God's crazy. You can't say he was okay with everything that's crazy, or else you're denying one of his divine attributes of being all good, all-knowing, all-powerful, and perfect.
okay.
Owned.
So okay, Dean. Like, okay. I mean, you're not gonna sway my faith in God if that's what you're attempting to do, or trying to weaponize
I'm just
the
trying to get
Bible
you to not be a
against my own
heretic.
beliefs.
Oh, I'm weaponizing the Bible because I use it to prove you wrong? Okay, yeah, when the
No,
Bible doesn't agree with you, it's a weapon.
You're cherry picking.
When the
'cause if
Bible
we're
does
really
agree
gonna
with you,
talk
it's
about
not
what
a
the-
weapon.
Go ahead. If we're really going to talk about what the Bible states, it also talks about how he knitted you in the womb. He knew John the Baptist before he was even born. He said, "I knew you before you were in the womb."
Oh, wait, before you were in the womb? So before conception? Because that statement, before you were in the womb, is not implying that he knew you in the womb, which of course he did because he's all-knowing, but specifically before you were in the womb, such as like this predestined sense of ensoulment.
Okay, maybe I misspoke. I mean, I
Yeah,
can
maybe.
I can look it up.
Right, but it
and
also
word by
says,
word for
but it
you
also
if you
says in the
want.
Old Testament that the punishment for killing another person is death, eye for an eye. But the punishment for killing a fetus, aka forcing a miscarriage, is just a fine, which seems to distinguish between the level of personhood we'd grant to a fetus and that to have born people like you and I, which happens to align perfectly with God first creating the body of Adam in Genesis 1 and 2, but then Adam's life starting with first breath.
Yes, but Adam was also created. No. Adam was also created. No, not quite with the Adam and Eve,
It's a
because
mic drop.
Adam. Are you going to let me?
Yeah.
Do I get to go now?
Yeah, you could go.
Y'all done?
Yeah.
Okay. Adam was created as a grown man. Adam was not created in the womb. He was
So
created
we're only
from
valuable when we're
dust.
created in the room? We're
What?
not valuable when we're created by dust in the image of God?
No, I'm not saying that. You're trying to use the argument that life begins at first breath by quoting the book of Adam. You're trying to quote the story of Adam and Eve and say that life begins at first breath, just as it did with Adam, when that doesn't quite apply, because Adam was not created in the womb. He was created from dust, and he was created as an already adult grown man. He
That's why
never
I gave
lived
you the
life
other-
as a baby.
That's why I gave you reference to other Mosaic law that instantiates that fetuses have a lower level of value or personhood than individuals like you and me because of the differentiating punishments in killing a person like you or I compared to killing a fetus. Can I own you on this one other thing? Do you think that all sins are identical in the eyes of God?
Do I think that all sins are identical in the eyes of God?
Outside of blasphemy, because that's a one unforgivable sin, yeah.
That's a tough one, because he does say that if you are aware that what you're committing is a sin, then that's obviously worse.
That's what the Catholics believe.
Correct.
The question is, are you a Catholic?
I attend Catholic church.
Okay, so that you definitely do hear that at Catholic Church, because that's their whole venial/mortal sin distinction, has to do with full knowledge and intention.
Correct.
So do you believe that sins done without full knowledge and intention are just as wrong as one another?
Are you asking if I feel that sins that are committed without knowledge and intention of it being a sin is equally as bad as one that's committed with intention and knowledge of it being sin?
No. Like the category of sins, or I guess the category of examples of individuals engaging in a sin where they don't have full knowledge and intention to sin, is that category, like when people do that, is it just as wrong as one another?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
you could put that under the same blanket, yeah.
Okay. Should it be illegal to tell your children that Santa Claus exists?
No, it shouldn't be illegal.
Okay. Then why should it be illegal to get an abortion, considering the fact that these two sins would be just as wrong as one another if the person engaging in these two sins didn't know that they were sins? Owned.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Owned again.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'll give that one to you. That's a good one.
Seriously though, how do you wiggle out of that one?
I mean, if the person who's getting the abortion isn't aware that murder is wrong, which I don't really know how they couldn't be aware of that. I mean, maybe they're like mentally impaired or something.
Am I mentally impaired because I don't think that abortion is wrong?
No, I just think you're severely misled, and I feel bad for you.
Okay, so when a man thinks that abortion is not wrong, they're just misled. But when a woman thinks that abortion is not wrong, they're quote-unquote mentally impaired? Because you just said women who get abortions that don't think they're saying, okay, don't think they're wrong or mentally impaired. But then when I ask you the same thing about me, because I don't think it's wrong, I'm just misled. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a little
I'll
bit
stand by that
misogynistic, right?
I mean,
Internally misogynistic of you to hold like a different standard where if a man and a woman believe in the same thing, the man is just misled, but the woman is mentally impaired.
I feel that it's vastly different for a woman who's pregnant, because there are psychological and physical changes that are done to the brain when a woman is experiencing pregnancy.
Okay, whatever. Okay, you think that they're mentally impaired. Okay, but still yet this doesn't explain why that sin is worse than the sin of lying. Because I could tell you that women who get abortions generally don't think that abortions are wrong. I mean, if you've had conversations with many people about the pro-choice worldview, I bet you've even heard from a lot of people that they don't even think that the fetus is alive. Okay, so
Yes.
clearly they don't think that they're doing anything wrong. Clearly they don't think that they're murdering. They don't even think it's alive in many scenarios.
Some of
So it's
them
like you
do.
can't say that they're
It's-
doing that with like full knowledge and intention to murder. Because if they don't think it's alive, it's kind of a non sequitur. Of course they don't think that they're murdering because they don't even think they're killing. Okay?
Sure,
But in like
sure.
the scenarios where people do think it's alive, just don't think it's wrong to kill it because of lack of consciousness, subjective awareness, sentience, and all these other attributes. Okay, well, although they know it's alive, they don't think it's murder because they don't think it's wrong due to the fact that they don't value the life of the unborn. So in those scenarios, you wouldn't be able to say that that sin is any worse than the sin of lying. So you have two options here. Either you hop on board with literally criminalizing every single little sin, or you have no justification from the Christian worldview insofar as why the sin of abortion should be illegal. The issue I'm providing you is very clear. Christianity does not provide a coherent social construct to use as the foundation for law, because in law, we make very critical, hyper-aware distinctions in the wrongness of an action that a person engages in. There's some wrong actions that we say should be legal. There's other wrong actions that we say should be illegal. And then even within that subcategory of the wrong actions that we think should be illegal, there's varying punishments for speeding to serial killing. And you just can't account for that nuance, that degree of severity from the Christian worldview. So the Christian worldview cannot be a foundational account for the criminal justice system. Unless you think we should make it just as black and white as the Bible states it is, all sins are illegal and bear the same punishment, maybe with small discrepancies for intention and full knowledge as we've already went over, or we completely ditch the Christian worldview as a foundation for the criminal justice system and otherwise operate off of some secular means, meaning that you completely ditch your foundation for the argument, not that abortion is wrong, but rather that abortion should be illegal.
I think when we got off on the Christian worldview, I think we're there are other reasons why I think that abortion is wrong, just that are apart from just me being a Christian.
Yeah. That's what I just said. I just went over how you got to completely ditch the Christian worldview as a foundation for law, and you rather have to give secular.
And I
support for the claim.
would agree with that for the most part. But I do believe that we get our idea of what is right and what is wrong is from God.
So ultimately you're saying you can't be a Christian and ditch the Christian worldview as a foundation for law. So you're either an anarchist that doesn't think law should exist, you are kind of insane and you think that all sins should bear the same legal punishment, or you have to reject Christianity from your position. Now, I don't really want to put you into this corner because the point isn't to convince you that either you should be an anarchist or an atheist, but I'd rather absolutely stick on abortion. But there is some implication there, and it's very difficult for theists to decipher. And I would love to have conversation about that with Christians, not to deny their religion, but literally just to try to discover truth and to see how could we really apply Christianity and the moral foundations you get from your religion to the criminal justice system. Whole other conversation as a whole. Let me give you my position on abortion. I don't value the fetus until 20 through 24 weeks because it lacks the capacity to intellectualize, and that's a point in which I believe the mind emerges. And I think that this position really does explain a lot of our other intuitions, like, for example, brain-dead patients who are biologically alive. We don't argue it's murder to pull the plug on them. We don't really argue that's much of an issue, even though they're a member of the human species. I would say what explains that intuition would be the fact that the brain-dead patient lacks the mind, very similar to the fetus before 20 through 24 weeks. The same thing could also be said for why we don't intuitively value unicellular human zygotes that are indefinitely frozen and will never be a person like you or I. They're definitely a member of the human species and definitely alive, but I'm not going to observe that zygote and argue that it'd be just as wrong to throw it away, causing its death, as it would be for me to point a gun at you and pull the trigger. And that's why I believe my pro-choice view is the most successful in describing how we really feel about the world we live in, compared to your pro-life view that is convenient for arguing abortion is wrong, but then as soon as we want to apply your moral foundations and your standards to anything else, like brain-dead patients or like zygotes, like birth control, it just kind of falls apart.
I would like to touch on the the comparison of brain dead patients.
Yeah.
There's a key difference between a brain dead patient and a child in the womb. A person is deemed legally brain dead because they no longer have cellular unity. But a child in the womb does have cellular unity as long as they are still alive in the womb.
By cellular unity, what you mean to say is biological unity. And you argue that they don't have biological unity because they no longer have cognitive function. You're right. And what exists to support the lack of biological unity to keep it alive would, of course, be the artificial means of life support. So even though it lacks biological unity, it is still yet alive because of the life support.
But legally speaking, they can be deemed brain dead because of that lack of
No, they're
cellular
brain dead
unity.
because they have the permanent and irreversible cessation of all cognitive function. Do you mean to say, legally speaking, they're deemed as dead? Which is true because there's no moral relevant distinction between a brain dead patient and a dead body. This does not mean that they aren't biologically alive, and they are biologically alive. And remember, the limited scope of your argument for why you think the life of the fetus matters has nothing to do with biological unity, has nothing to do with a feature, has nothing to do with legally being alive or dead, and has all to do with the fact that it is a biological life that's a member of our species. Those same two attributes are true of a brain dead patient.
Okay. So you see that there's no difference between a grown adult or a 4-year-old child that is brain dead and being kept on life support from a child in the womb.
So yeah, I would say that there's no relevant difference as it would relate to your argument insofar as why abortion is wrong. Keyword relevant. There's no relevant difference.
Okay. I'm curious to why you feel that, what was it, 22 weeks, 23 weeks is the magic number.
Well, it's not a magic number, it's science. We could get into that in a bit. What is the relevant difference, though, between the brain dead patient and the fetus, as it relates to your argument that it's wrong to kill the fetus because it's a member of the human species? Like, I'll just ask you this question. Is the brain dead patient a member of the human species?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so then you don't think it's always wrong to kill members of the human species, so then you wouldn't be able to explain why it's wrong in the case of the fetus. Or you'd just be contradicting your moral principle that it is always wrong to kill members of the human species. One of the two.
I still wouldn't find it morally correct to pull the plug on somebody that is
you think that would be
brain
murder?
dead.
Is that murder?
Legally speaking, no.
Not
Morally speaking, yes.
Even Christians disagree with you. Trent Horn disagrees
fine.
with you.
That's fine.
Aquinas disagreed with you. Why would it be murder to kill a brain dead patient? They have no cognitive function.
It is the intentional ending of a human life.
So, do you just think that we should keep them on life support indefinitely?
That's tough. I think. Okay, here's a great example. I've had this conversation before with my husband.
Oh.
And I've asked him, if you were to ever be vegetable or deemed brain dead,
Vegetative state.
yes, what would you want me to do? And he told me that he would not want to live like that. He would not want to be kept on life support indefinitely. Because I have gotten that answer from him, that's really the only scenario where I think it would be somewhat acceptable. It would still be obviously very difficult to do that. Yeah, I mean, it's my husband. But because those are his wishes that he has been able to express to me, because he's not brain dead right now, then I would want to respect his wishes, as difficult as it would be. And okay, I would still...
not all people that are brain dead have
correct.
Previously declared wills.
Correct, yes. They've not had the opportunity to do that. Yes, most people don't have that conversation, of course. So then, yes, morally speaking, I still think I would still view that as murder. Legally speaking, no.
Yeah,
but
dude, okay.
Morally speaking, yes.
Okay, that's just crazy. There's something else I wanted to talk to you about that actually doesn't concern me denying your position on why the life of the fetus is valuable would be scenarios of abortion for rape victims. If you needed my bodily resources to live, should I be forced to give them to you to keep you alive?
No.
Okay, so then why should a rape victim be forced to do the same for a fetus?
Okay. I have a couple of different reasons. One, being pregnant is a very temporary state of being. Giving up your organ would be permanent for you unless you yourself were to also receive a transplant. So you would be permanently losing that organ.
Yeah.
Where a woman who's pregnant it's 9 months of her life. It is a very temporary state of being. Sometimes it's less, obviously, if the child's born prematurely. So that's one point I have for that.
Can I respond to that?
Go for it, please.
There's two ways of attacking this. The first thing is that we could just re-envision the hypothetical where it's no longer me giving you an organ, but me giving some of my stem cells to Max Irby that would naturally replenish on their own after 9 months. I would still argue that I'd be justified in standing up and disconnecting from Max Irby if I was otherwise going to be forced to sit there for 9 months to keep him alive, even though what I would lose would be something that could be replenished. The second counter argument would be, well, let's just imagine that uteruses for women kind of work like bee stingers for bees. You only get to use it once. With one pregnancy comes the loss of your uterus. It doesn't kill you. It just kind of comes out with a baby. Well, would we say in that scenario, because the pregnant woman is permanently losing something, that then abortion is justified?
Wait, in that hypothetical made up scenario where the uterus is like a bee stinger, so the woman can only get pregnant one time, and that's it.
Yeah, and so thereby, with giving birth to the child, she's permanently losing something, losing an organ, and uterus is an organ. Would she be justified in accessing abortion? Because that was your first argument, insofar as why I wouldn't be able why I would be able to deny access to my resources to yourself, but a rape victim wouldn't, just because I'm permanently losing something and they're not. So if they did permanently lose something, would the abortion be justified?
No, because they're going to lose it regardless. They're going to lose it regardless.
If they get the abortion, they don't lose it. If they get the abortion, they don't lose it.
What? Whether you get an abortion or not, you still have to deliver the child. The child still has to come out of you.
In this crazy hypothetical, if they get the abortion, they don't lose it. Would the abortion be justified? But the reason why I'm asking you this question is expecting you to say no, just to be able to reasonably conclude that therefore that's not a relevant difference between the hypothetical I gave you and the circumstance of a rape victim accessing abortion. Like, I would assume even in the scenario that they didn't lose the uterus if they got the abortion, that therefore you would still say the abortion is wrong because it's killing an innocent human life. But
correct.
Then you just, yes. Yeah, exactly. So, now your counter argument against my analogy has failed.
In your made-up alien world where uteruses are like bee stingers, yes. But in the world that we live in, no.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so then the fact that I'm losing something by being forced to give you a kidney does not explain why you think I shouldn't be forced to give you a kidney.
We only stopped on one point.
What's the next point, please?
When it comes to the organ.
Sure, what's the next point?
The next point is a person who needs an organ transplant, if you are somebody who's a perfect match, you're the only person in the world who can provide said organ to somebody who is terminally ill and dying. You are given 3 options with that person. You can either give them the organ that they need to be able to survive this terminal illness, or you can leave them in the state that they are, which is obviously dying, or the third option, which is you can murder them. When a woman is pregnant, she's given only 2 options, not 3. Her options are either leave the child in the state that they are in the womb until obviously delivery, or she can murder them.
Yeah, so it's active versus passive. You're actively changing the state of affairs to deny the fetus access to your bodily resources, leading to their death, compared to passively leaving the state of affairs as they are by denying somebody else your kidney. We could account for that too in the hypothetical. Do you know who Max Irby is?
No.
He is a 14-year-old that needs a stem cell transplant really badly, but his stem cell type is very rare. His father set up a drive to get DNA donations to him to find a match. So far, they've collected 40 million DNA samples and they haven't found one. This means if there is a DNA match alive, there's probably only one. Let's assume that the government found out I'm the only match tomorrow, and they kidnap me and Max Irby to try to save Max Irby's life, and then I wake up connected to him via an IV cord, and they tell me, Dean, for the next 9 months, you're going to be very slowly and gradually giving Max some of your stem cells. If you disconnect and leave, he dies, but you are free to disconnect and leave and go back to the life that we stole you away from. Should I maintain the legal right to stand up, disconnect from Max, refuse to be kidnapped, and go back to my life?
Legally speaking, yes. You
Perfect.
should be able to do that.
Even though you're actively changing the state of affairs and engaging in a direct action that leads to Max Irby's death, just like raped women when they take an abortion pill to deny the fetus access to their bodily resources. What's the difference?
The difference is you're not okay. It would be the same thing with Max. I don't want to mispronounce his last name, so I'll just call him Max. There's a key difference with the situation of Max. The only way that it would be the same is if you were to then take a pillow over his face and smother him.
Nope.
Or oh my gosh, abortion is so barbaric. I don't even want to get into
We're talking
the graphic
specifically about the
detail of it.
abortion pill that just denies the fetus the progesterone through the umbilical cord from the placenta. And then it just dies.
Correct.
And then it dies.
It doesn't, okay. Yes, it eventually does die, yes.
Yeah, from starvation. Exactly the same way that Max
Yes,
would die
correct.
because I'm denied of my stem cells. What's the difference?
I guess in that scenario where you are kidnapped by the government and forced to stay connected to him for 9 months.
There is no difference. So therefore, you think in the real world, rape victims should be able to access abortion?
No.
Okay, that means that there is a difference. What is the difference?
I'd have to think about that one.
Okay, Bink. Why do you think I'm going to thank a couple donors? Thank you, Ben, for the $25 donation on Venmo. Let's get 250 Ben W's down below in that comment section, who says, an interesting ethical standard. If suffering has an end date, it apparently requires no further moral consideration. Yeah, I appreciate you for the $25, Ben. Ryan with the $10 says, former Catholic here, mortal sin is not just defined by knowledge and intention, but it also has to be a grave matter. Yeah, I'm familiar with that, Ryan. I had a conversation with a couple Catholics about that, and I asked them what a grave matter is, and they told me that it's ultimately elusive and is anything that's morally wrong. Maybe there's some more exhaustive definition of what a grave matter is found in the canon, and I'll check out your citation in the Catechism. Thank you so much, Kate, as well. Oh, sorry, Rowan. Thank you for the $10. I appreciate you. And I'm so sorry, Rowan. I'm not going to read that out loud just because I don't want this guest to use that against you. Just know that you did nothing wrong. Thank you for the $10, Rowan. Tori, thank you so much for the $10 as well, who says, someone can definitely try to kill you without intending if they're not sound of mind. I'm a psych nurse and it happens to me every week. Yeah, stay safe. Stay safe. You probably have a great relationship with the security. I know my sister does because she works in a very similar field. Katie, thank you for the $10 as well. I appreciate you. Parker, thank you for the $5. Madeline, thank you for the $2. Olivia, thank you for the $10. She says, people like that last guest are the reason why society's messed up as a whole. I absolutely agree. Dylan, thank you for the $20. She says, Dean, I will say I'm only MAGA due to the household, and I don't really know they left the news until I watched your lives. I would like to personally thank you for everything that you do on live, and if possible, I'll absolutely do it real. Well, hey, Dylan, thank you for the $20. Yeah, I'd love to have a conversation with you, so hopefully we could change your mind. Let's get 200 Dylan W's in that comment section. Thank you so much. That cast left. L, bro. L. I don't know how many people have been in here for that last abortion discussion that we just went through, as well as the abortion discussion with a shitty predator man prior to her. But I ran the same exact argument on both of those two people. And the reason why it was more hard hitting on her than him is because she was a bit smarter than him. And it's like, when you're able to, like, conceptually think even just a little bit, it makes it a lot harder to be to like evade arguments. Like, it's like hard to debate somebody that's smart, but it's impossible to debate somebody that's dumb, you know? Welcome in, unknown. Do you support Trump?
Where's the vape?
Childs. Janaea, thank you so much for the $50 on Venmo. Thank you so much, Janaea. Let's get 500 Janaea W's, who says, the last guy, referring to the guy before her, was clinically insane. Thank you for everything that you're doing, Dean. Dude, he was nuts, man. That was a scary-ass conversation. I didn't like that at all. I'm still kind of struggling with that. Megan, thank you for the $10, and happy birthday, Gabby. I hope that you've had a great day today, Gabby. Shout out to you. Shout out to Megan's daughter, Gabby. And then Asia, thank you for the $10 as well. And then Mary, thank you for the $5. I really appreciate you. Welcome in. Do you support Trump, Cassie?
Hi, I just want to say that I love you so much, and I love your views, and
Thank you so much. I hope that you have a good rest of your day. You're simply too cool to keep on the live stream. You're simply too cool. Too cool. Way too cool to keep on the live stream. Way too cool. Over on PayPal, thank you, Ava. Sorry, not Ava. Jade, thank you for the $14. Who says, I'm a young teacher who works at a Christian school, and that could have not been more disgusting, especially using religion to try to back him. Sorry you had to deal with people who lack common sense. Much love. Much love to you as well. I appreciate you for the $15. I know that you're referring to the man. He was so gross, as well as Elita. Thank you so much for the $50, who says, I would have died from an ectopic pregnancy if they hadn't removed it from my fallopian tube. Sending support from the UK as ever from Tia Sophia. Tia Sophia, it's good to see you again. I know that you've been watching for a while and you've always been so supportive of what we do. Just know that I really appreciate you. Same thing to you, Marianne and Valerie. I appreciate you guys for the $10. Valerie says the guest and I have been insane. So fucking true. They've been nuts. And then SJ, thank you for the $10, who says, thank you for speaking out / protecting children. I was a CSA victim and it took me years and a team of people to go against TikTok to remove the CP from the app. We eventually had to do it illegally, but we got it down. Thank you for all that you do. I'm so sorry to hear that, SJ. Especially on TikTok. TikTok sucks, man. They're such a terrible platform. I really appreciate you. Shout out to you, SJ, as always, and I'm sorry to hear that happened to you, genuinely. Star for Life, do you support Trump?
No, but I love you, Dean. I love you, Dean.
Please follow our rules, but I hope that you have a good rest of your day, Star for Life. Once again, way too cool to keep on the live. Let's go to get the next guest up here. If you are watching on TikTok, make sure that you're double tapping away in that phone screen, sharing out that live with a couple of friends. We're nearing the end of our 4-hour stream. I'm actually going to shoot a text to Paka, see if we could get him up here for the last 15 minutes or so. Oh! Wait, he is in the live. He shot me a text. Is he still watching? He is still watching. Parker, bro, I'm telling you, you need to call me. You need to call me when you went up.
What's up?
Dude, I was just literally going to text you to see if you wanted to join.
Yeah, I know. I saw. Yeah, I know. Sometimes you don't get the messages, but I know at some point you'll see it, so it's not a big deal.
Dude, Parker, the guests today have been insane. Insane, Parker.
Really? What was the craziest person?
Let me just try to find. Let me find a clip of what he was saying real quick. I should be able to find it relatively easily because I want you to hear what he was saying. Okay? Insane.
Dude, I feel bad for you, bro.
Yeah, this was crazy. Let me find this real quick. This was a disgusting.
Yeah, I literally. Here, I'll let you think about. Oh, I'll hear it.
Hopefully, it will only take me a moment. If TikTok that didn't understand the grab they're naked or to take. There we go. We should be close. We should be really close. I think I'm right in the territory. Everything. Man. Should be almost there. If I can't find it in like less than 30 seconds, we are just going to go ahead and... that is ran under the noses of you, me, and every other person watching this live. Matter what the intention of the photographer is, to catch you up, was that for the $10. But it would rather fall on the...
This comes down to the way you...
River, once again, the reason why it is harmful is such a lack of empathy. Answer is yes. See here.
Looked at as pornography now. But at the time, they weren't. And it wasn't violence against people. It was just kids and out playing volleyball and badminton. And they happened to have no clothes on. And there was nothing sexual about it. Right? You do understand what naturalists are. That's a question.
That's not even the worst part of it. He went on to say at the end, when it would honestly take me a while to actually find it, so I'll just tell you what he said. He went on to say at the end, like he gave like a whole and complete monologue about how there was just nothing wrong with naked bodies at all. Of like kids, of anyone.
Bro, that's crazy. That's a crazy defense for wanting to see kids unclothed. That's nuts.
Yeah. It's by far like one of the craziest people I've ever spoken to. And even that little clip doesn't really do it justice of what he was saying. I'm sure the people that watched it live know that. Like at the end, right before we kicked him.
It's like, what the hell? I was like, dude, I'm sorry you had dealt with such a crazy day. I'm like, I literally spent the day at the beach with my family. I had a really good day. Oh my
god! So you're telling me while I was on here talking to assholes, you were at the beach?
I was at the beach having a great time.
No, that sounds fun. That sounds a lot of fun. That sounds like a lot of fun. I'd like to go to the beach. Let's go to get the next guest connected. Oh, actually, I'll have to text you about this later this year. I'll be out there for a couple days.
Yes, it'll be fun to see it. We'll have to go. We should go to the beach together. You know what?
Oh hell yeah!
I feel like it's been so long
I'll-
since I've gone to the beach consistently. Sorry.
I'll have to tell you about it in private, but it'll be fun. You also like where I'm staying. I think that you'd enjoy coming down there for a little bit. Probably don't get down there too often. Candy, thank you for the galaxy. Jonathan, do you support Trump?
Charlie wants a puff of your vape, Dean.
Jesus Christ. Don't take the name of CK in vain like that. Rest in peace. Moving on to the next guest. Only hop inside of the queue if you are here for debate. Let's gotta get the next guest connected. Only hop inside of the queue if you do happen to be MAG, everyone. We got No Way Nancy loading up inside of the box. Only do hop inside of the queue if you do happen to be MAG, everyone. Oh yeah, did you see the proof of life photos of Mitch McConnell?
Oh yeah. What are your thoughts on them?
He's dead. He's dead. He has like tape with string on his like mouth to make him smile, and like the same thing with like the eyelids. And then they just kind of like positioned his hand. I'm just kidding. He's probably alive.
Yeah, no, I was honestly like, I don't know before the picture was posted. I was like, I don't know if I genuinely don't know, because like
Yeah.
there was not really good evidence that he was.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know. He's alive. No Way Nancy, do you support Trump?
Do you know if there's 100 continents, or is there 7?
there's hundreds actually.
There's hundreds. Dude, that was so crazy, man.
They're just past the ice wall, Dean. They're past the ice wall.
So true. All the other continents are past the ice wall. It's so crazy that people actually believe that, Parker.
It is nuts, isn't it? I've had people argue to me on live many times. Like I've done a prove to me the Earth is flat live before, and that was unhinged. That was really unhinged.
Dude, I miss those lives, man. Those were fun. DJ, do you support Trump?